The water's from the pool that I had finally realized swimming's the best exercise for me right now, locally. And I can't read this now, but I wrote it on a Post-it. And my memory is of being with our Tapestry community of women at a women's retreat. And how having the opportunity to declare my challenges has made me flourish and be more accountable.
This water's from the pitcher. And I only poured a little bit in because we need all we can get. My memory is that I would like to share and like to carry forward is of people that we knew in our old venue, people who have returned here, and to people whom we have not yet met. Thank you.
Plastic free, everybody. Okay. I'd like to take my memories of Lois and Dick Huddlestone to our new home. They've been very important to Tapestry, and they're the reason I moved to Orange County and became a Unitarian and joined this congregation.
My memory is just of coming and feeling so welcome here on the very first day that we came, and that's what kept us coming back, and we still feel just as welcome. So I hope we bring that forward for other people.
Hi, I'm Christine, and my memory I want to take forward in one sentence to our new home is our commitment to providing rich and engaging kids programs. Without that, we're nothing.
So this water is from our pool, and memory is just great conversations and fun with friends and family, and many more in the future.
This water is for the camping trips that Ellen and I went to, and how much fun they were, and hope we continue to do that because they were great. Thank you.
So many memories of camp with people of this congregation and beyond, people who aren't with this congregation, people who are coming back to this congregation and joining us to go to Camp de Benneville Pines, which is a beautiful resource up in the mountains. So when I go there, I always feel connected to you, and I hope that we will continue as a congregation to stay connected to camp as individuals and together.
I have so many memories of my time with Tapestry, and the things that really stick are when I have a picture and I see us smiling either at Camp de Benneville or at auction night or even just at some of the educational programs for the kids that we have here. And my wife is always smiling. She's thinking to herself, wow, this is such a good value. And I'm just relaxed because the people around me show their love and their experience. And I know that the memories I see in that picture are memories of moments that are the true treasures in life with my family. So I am looking forward to making more memories like that with this community.
My water comes from two places. First of all, from the north of Ireland, where I went on a great trip with some old and new friends. And secondly, some of this water came from New Orleans, where A large group of us went for a General Assembly in June, and that's what I want to talk about, the camaraderie and the friendship with the good people here. I hope that does not change when we move.
My first memory of coming to Tapestry was after my husband passed away. I was quite accidentally looking for a community to be a part of, and my first visit here was a good one. I felt included, and I have Jan Meslin to thank for that. Not only did I get a community to be involved with, to have fun with, and to enjoy, but I also discovered that I can make a difference in this world, and I hope we bring that forward to the new venue.
The water I bring today is symbolic from several of the trips and journeys I've taken with friends since the beginning of the year. And the memory that I'd like to take forward to our new home is that of Marie Ferguson, whose generosity and grace contributed so much to this congregation over the years and has made it the family and community that we are today.
Tapestry is my safe place. Thank you.
I'm thankful for connections made and for those developing, and some of those connections in my own thoughts and in my heart, but also amongst ourselves.
This is ice from our freezer. Water is unique. Ice floats. It's floating. Without it, there'd be no life. We would freeze life. I came to Tapestry to find inspirational music. I found it amongst ourselves and with the great choir and the piano people we've had over the years. I hope that continues. I worshiped with the Quakers, and I craved music and leadership thoughts from people like the pastors and like Dave's wonderful poetry today. They inspire me. Thank you.
I was thinking back to the Christmas party where Kent did a great job as the camel.
The last talent show we had here was a lot of people having fun together and just relaxing, and it was a time I really needed that.
So I think will have logged like 20 some odd thousand air miles this year, and I'm not seeing a lot of voices preaching, unity, togetherness, calm. Like, we can not just get along, but not, like, slaughter each other. And a memory from Tapestry is, without Tapestry, I wouldn't have been in front of a mosque standing and witnessing to actual calm. It's kind of a new thing for me.
This is water from our aquarium, which is the first thing you see when you come in our front door.
What we'd like to bring with us to the new sanctuary is not only the good times and the friendships that we've had here in the sanctuary, but also the things that we've done with people outside, performances, game nights, hiking, de Benneville, lots of good times. Thank you for your friendships.
That water is straight from the tap. My memory is of Marie Ferguson. I would not be here if it hadn't been for her, and I'm so grateful to be part of this community.
The water that my wife is pouring in there, it comes from the crystal clear Lake Tahoe. And it's a reminder of the clarity and beautiful spirit of Tapestry. And our memory to carry forward is the feeling of welcome and unconditional caring and acceptance that we felt the first day we walked in here when we met Penny Kinnear and Reverend Kent. We look forward to carrying that forward.
This is symbolic water from our Alaskan cruise this summer, which we spent with our family. And family was what we looked for when we came to a new congregation in Orange County when we moved from upstate New York. And we were welcomed as a family. Our son is still best friends with a boy he met at the original church, a predecessor of ours, and our daughter was the minister on our first Christmas Eve when we joined congregations, and as she was a student. And so we've always been accepted as family here. And I also want to remember the person who made us feel like family, who was John Alcorn, who started one of the churches that combined, and to remember John as we move forward.
My name is John with my sons Ryan and Ethan. This water is from the fountain in our backyard, and it's symbolic of the good times we've had in that backyard, meeting with friends and family, and also of the amount of work we've put into that house over the last year, and how I probably wouldn't have been proud to share any of that water until about 6 months ago when we finally got the fountain cleaned up. And in that light, it's also symbolic of what we have ahead of us as we purchase a new building and get that up to where we're proud to share with others. So.
That water represents symbolically for my wife and I the waters of the Pacific Ocean that brought us south to this area, that enabled us to find this community and the wonderful people and activities that we're making that will carry us forward. And we want to carry all of that with us as we move forward to our new location.
That symbolic water for being on the Ganges and floating candles on the Ganges with on a trip with friends. And also I want to recall the very first group I joined here at Tapestry before I ever came to a service, the women's group. I remember Nancy Knipe, Betty Elliott, Susan Rao, Wendy Washington, and we were all dancing around with scarves, something I would never, ever have done in a million years on my own.
This water is symbolic for the Ohio River in Kentucky, where we were a few weeks ago when my mother-in-law, who was 105, died, and we took her body back there. Also, I would like to remember about Tapestry. Not a few months ago, I took a trip to Sacramento with Reverend Kent and a group of people from Santa Ana, where we worked on passing a bill and sat in the Capitol.
Good morning. Water has a lot of meaning. I was in my mother's womb when she tried to got on a fishing boat from Taiwan back to mainland, because she wasn't gonna have this child in an island with no relatives around. So I remember the water around me all the time. So people and relationship in my life are more important than the place. And in the last few years, I have lost a lot of people. So 2 years ago, January, it was like several days after I lost somebody very important to me, I found this place. So this group of people become my new anchor. Thank you.
I want to remember all the people I've traveled with over the last 17 years or so, most of them from this community, and I would not have taken those trips if I had not made those friendships. And also, I have no immediate close family of my own. I'm sort of an orphan, and so this place is my family, quite literally, and I appreciate it greatly.
My family and I are very new to Tapestry, but I do have a really great memory of the speed friending. It was a first and only event outside of Sunday mornings that we came to. It was a lot of fun.
I have many memories of water and being a Unitarian about 51 years ago, when I moved to the country. But this is a fascinating way of talking to people and letting them know you are the family. I'm alone.
To think that we are made out of the same thing as the rivers and oceans and what's in that bowl, it's incredible. I want to just think of a memory of Reverend Kent's arrival and all that he brought to this community, to this church, and to think that a home is much more than just the walls and the ceiling and the floor, but the people in it. And I look forward to the next chapter of the church.
As drops of rain that find each other and build to become a track, a rivulet, a stream, a river, a sea, so are we drawn together. So are we fortunate to find each other. So are we bound together on this shared passage toward an unknown ocean of eternity. Thank you for sharing those memories. I know that there are countless more in this room and in our 40-year history, but thank you for the ones that we heard. The water communion today was a break from the usual. Instead of talking about summer adventure so much, we needed to focus on our life together as a community. One big reason for celebrating our history is that very soon we will be moving out of this building. Christmas Eve, December 24th, will be our last service in this sanctuary. There's a lot of planning and packing to be done, and moving day will be here before we know it. Unfortunately, the building that we're buying will still be under construction at that time, so Tapestry will be on the move for 4 or 5 months. During that time, we will worship together and we will hold our religious education classes together at a nearby house of worship. The board has made a decision about where we want that to be. We're still working on a concrete rental contract before we talk about all the detailed nitty-gritty, but I promise you it's a good solution. Thanks to some incredible generosity and some dedicated volunteer work, we're also making very steady progress toward closing on the purchase of our new building that will be our permanent home. We're still in escrow and we hope to close in November. There hasn't been a lot of official movement, so we haven't communicated a whole lot. But if you have questions or concerns, I encourage you to talk directly to a board member or to myself. We don't all know who board members are, so board members, can you briefly stand up? Awesome. Thank you. Those are your folks. There's a lot of change to keep track of. Not all of that change is the location. We're also changing who we are as a community. Tapestry is undergoing an incredible period of growth. It's great. We have somewhere around 170 members now, which is larger than Tapestry has ever been, and we have another membership recognitions trying to get scheduled within the month. But I want to get a little bit of the sense of who is in our room. So if you started coming to Tapestry in the past 2 years, would you raise your hand, please? Okay, there we go. There are lots of new faces in our community. There are also a lot of people who have been around for a very long time. 29 of our current members have been at Tapestry since 1996. If you have been at Tapestry for 20 years, and I'll give you a point of reference, the two churches, All Souls UU and Aliso Creek UU, merged in 1995. So if you've been a part of Tapestry since then, would you raise your hand? Yeah, 20 years. A select few have been here even longer, and I want to name these. Barb and Marcia Meyer, Bill and Marcia Medina, and Janet Lusk have been a part of this community for over 30 years. I just wanted to get a sense of who we are as we gather. It can be hard to tell. For some people, Tapestry is a brief stopping point on the journey. For many of us, it's a long-term spiritual home. And we like to offer that sense of rootedness for as many people who are interested in it. But we're glad to open our doors and our hearts to anyone who would take shelter here for even a moment. Whether it's a moment or a lifetime, by showing up here, you are part of this congregation's story. In our water communion, we named some beautiful pieces of our history. We've also had bumps and challenges along the way. Those are also part of who we are. I want to name some of those because they also define us. Tapestry has had some bumpy ministerial transitions. There were a couple of bad fits and a couple of departures that were abrupt and unsettling. Those ministries and those transitions come with us. They are part of our community. There have also been a few institutional identity crises. I don't even know the history in detail, but I know in the 80s and 90s there was a schism and a re-merger. I do know that we came back together and we're all here today. Also around 2006, Tapestry had some long, hard conversations about possibly merging with a neighboring congregation. And a vote of one single person in the other congregation turned all of those months of hard work into a decision not to merge. It was disheartening for everyone involved, but strangely, both congregations now agree that it's best that they didn't merge. We've also had financial struggles. This was before I got here, but in years past, I know that there was finger crossing and shifting of money in bank accounts, and some praying every time that payroll came around. Some very dedicated people got us through some very slim years. Thank you. And we also had a pledge campaign several years ago. We used to refer to it as the failed pledge campaign. The congregation failed to raise an impossibly high goal that an outside consultant told the congregation would be possible. For years, that pledge campaign was deemed a failure until just 2 years ago when we started another pledge campaign, the Raise the Roof campaign, the one that's going to make it possible for us to finally buy a building. But the money raised from that previous failed campaign is what pushed us over the edge to secure our stability. Those challenges in our history are part of who we are. As we head into the future, all these challenges come with us. We've learned better ways of loving one another. We've learned better ways of financial stewardship. And probably most importantly, we've learned about the strength and the resiliency of this community. It's part of our roots. Tapestry has been around in one form or another for a little over 35 years. There's a lot of history there and many relationships. I often wonder about the first few people who started to get together, probably in someone's home over coffee. I wonder if they had any idea what they were starting, or if they intended to build a congregation. I wonder if they were even Unitarian Universalists back then, or were they just some curious liberal folks here in South Orange County that wanted a community of shared values. I really would love to know those first meetings, who it was. Somehow, through the years, Tapestry survived and it has thrived. But survival is not our mission, and growth is not our mission either. Our mission is to be a home for liberal spirituality and a dynamic community leader in South Orange County and beyond. All this history, these relationships and stories are more than a social club. Whether you were here at the beginning or you started coming this month, you have been a part of building a spiritual home for people that need it. Yes, some of us come here and it's fun to see the people that we know and we care about. This is also a safe place that people come in some of their tenderest moments of life. Some of you shared those stories during our water communion. And beyond building a spiritual home for us, we make a difference in the world. Whether it's for LGBT issues or immigration or anti-racism or environmental justice, women's rights, or simply caring for the marginalized in our community. Tapestry's been there again and again for decades. We're not perfect, but we have made a difference. And our being together, we have made a difference. And I'm so, so glad that we get to make that difference side by side. Amen.